What's up, family? Welcome back to another episode of Black Dad, White Dad with Strong Dad and Chad. Chad, how you doing,
Right.
man?
Oh, I'm doing excellent. Just got
Like
finished
that? That was a good
striking.
intro.
Yeah, that was great. I just got finished a striking class, and I'm in over my head. I'll just say that much. But I'm going to keep grinding until I get it to where
What are
I'm
you
able
striking?
to. Huh?
What are
Well,
you
I was
striking?
just striking a bag today
Okay.
because I'm not there yet. But I'm getting there. I'm getting there. I'll be all right.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
So what's on you working on combos? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Working
yeah.
on.
Working on some little combos. And so just trying to get my. And she didn't wait long, did she? She
She does
she
not
just
care
said
about my time.
she knows what this episode is about. She knows.
Bye-bye.
She's like, listen, you can't have a show about dads and not have me chime in and remind you that you are a dad. And I know what today's topic is. So
That's right.
that was a perfect way for her to tell us, Trey, what is our topic for today?
Yo, the topic today, well, really, yeah. So the topic today is how do we, as fathers, maximize the time we have for ourselves and with our families? Since all this time is together and all this time has now become one, how do we grow and become better men individually while also, being the head of our castle or our kingdom and making sure that everything is done properly? And so you're going to start by telling us some things you do.
Yeah, listen, man. Let me just prepare you for what's coming because you haven't had your brush with this just yet because she's still little.
Good.
And the requests are all very simple and small and Daddy, will you read this for me? Daddy, can you put this back together?
Read a book, mac and cheese.
There you go. Read a book, mac and cheese. There you go. That's pretty much it. Whereas mine is my car just stalled on the highway and I'm stranded. Help. And so I've got to drop everything I'm doing and go take care of that.
That's right.
Or it's whatever other thing we had the other night. My youngest son, it's funny. He ate like a bunch of he got like some sugar-free gum or something like that and chewed a bunch of it, and it has like these sugar alcohols that like they're like a diuretic and laxative kind of thing. And so he was having some horrible like stomach cramp, abdominal cramps and stuff like that. For a second there, we thought we didn't know about because we kept asking him like, what do you eat? What did you eat? What, was because he had basketball training that day. Their season's over, but they were doing like off-season training. And so he kind of went heavy with that. We thought maybe he got dehydrated. I'm thinking maybe appendicitis. Like, I don't know what. I was like, where is the pain? Where, we're asking him all these questions and everything. We ended up, it was like 45 minutes. It was not going away. And it seemed like the way he was acting, it was getting worse. So we take off and we're headed to the emergency room. And like, as we're going, like he starts describing some of the stuff. Then he tells us about the sugar-free gum. So we're like, okay, I think I know what's going on here. I think what it is you're a little bit dehydrated. Your body wants to shit, but you don't have anything it's not ready to move. So we got him some like electrolytes and stuff like that, and got him hydrated and everything, got him good to go there. And it started to subside, came back home. Like we were in the parking lot at the emergency room and we're like, you good? Like, you sure we're going home or are we going in? What are we doing? So
just so adults, as someone who be trying to train people and teach people healthy life lessons, adults still suffer with that same issue. So this is something that will always exist, even when your parents aren't here. You're still probably going to be eating less and can't take a shit. So.
Right. But so the point I'm making here is like when you talk about like how do you make space for yourself when you have all these responsibilities, the answer is you get what you get, because when he's having that, he comes downstairs at 10 o'clock at night and he's like trying to go to sleep. He's got school the next morning and like he's doubled over in pain and we have no way of figuring out what we're going to do. And by 11 o'clock, we're on the road on our way to the emergency room. We don't get home until 12:30. Like everything that you had planned is blown up. And you just go into dad mode and you take care of business, and whatever has to be done has to be done. And then once you've figured that out and gotten to where it's in the rearview mirror or it's isolated and it's kind of on its way to being taken care of, now you get to move into the mode of like, okay, now what was I trying to do again? And then you start trying to organize, and you kind of in the aftermath and the shrapnel and everything like that of life, you pick up the pieces and you build back together whatever it was that
Right.
you had originally planned. You get knocked off of your square of your plan a lot, and what it is like not getting knocked off of your square of like who you are and how you're going to reframe everything and start to prioritize. Okay, this stuff is just going to have to not happen because this other major thing that's way more important, my kids survival or like my daughter stranded on the side of the road, whatever, that kind of thing, these things take priority temporarily. And then
Right.
when I come back, if there's some stuff that just has to go by the wayside, it goes by the wayside. But you regroup and you reorganize things into what's most important, and you take care of the things that you need to take care of. And you carve out that time for yourself, but you're always kind of like aware that like if something happens, you have to be able to be the calming presence that can respond in those moments where my daughter is like freaking out and there's something like I'm locked out of my bank account. I can't get into my bank account. She's stressing out about that. And I'm just like, all right, let's calm down. Let's start thinking. All right, it's Sunday. Nobody's like wiping your shit out.
You're
You're
a life
good.
coach.
We'll wait. Yeah, you start doing that thing because if you're not that and you're like flying off the handle with and this is something I'm not perfect. I have my moments where this stuff does kind of grab me and get me a little more I don't know, reactive and less responsive, but what you have to try to do as a dad is make sure you're as seated in that responsiveness mode as much as possible so that you can be that calming presence so that they know when the shit's hitting the fan, they can always come to me and I'm going to make sure everything's okay.
Yeah.
So, and that you do the best you can with that, and then after that, you get to take care of yourself and be I don't know,
Be you.
be back on your business.
Okay.
So,
All right.
I know it's tough, but it is what it like because I can't just be like, no, sorry, I got this shit I'm working on. Deal with it yourself. To my daughter, like that's
Right. There's a lot of sacrifice.
mhm.
And it grows over time, is what it sounds like.
Until she's married. And then when she's married, that's his problem. And I'm still, I'm still going to have some stuff, I'm sure, where I'm going to still be leaned on and relied on. But that's where me and him are going to have a conversation
Exactly.
about like how I didn't do that to my father-in-law. Once I
Exactly.
took his daughter in marriage, that was it. Like it's my responsibility. She's my responsibility now.
But that's why we're here, though, to teach that so
Mm-hmm.
that others learn that lesson, because that's
Mm-hmm.
definitely a lesson that needs to be learned.
Mm-hmm.
It's now it's your time. You got to handle all that. Dad, you know what I'm saying? Dad he gave her away to you.
Mm-hmm.
It is your turn. So
That's
you
right.
are responsible in many ways.
So as a young dad who's got a young child, how have you seen like navigating this responsibility and then still taking care of strong dad so that you can still be strong dad and not exhausted dad?
Listen. First of all, the
Probably still exhausted dad, aren't you?
the first schedule disruption you will experience is the day your wife goes in labor. After that,
Mm,
everything you plan is in the air. It's not on the table, it's in the air. It's so
uh-huh.
get used to it from that very moment. My wife, she went into labor. She woke me up. I barely got any sleep, and I swear to God, I pretty much almost cried. I was really sad to wake up. In my head, I was thinking, "Damn it, why couldn't you just wait till the morning?" You know what I'm saying? Is what it is.
They come
Is
when
what
they're
it is.
ready.
You come when you're ready. But listen,
Mhm.
what I have actually learned was something that kind of helped me navigate all this was actually something I learned in this book right here. It's called the Thich Nhat Hanh, right?
Mm,
It's about mindful meditation. It's in the realm of Buddhism. But in that book, right, what I learned was the time you share is your time. No matter what you're doing, it's your time. And a lot of the times we die. And when you look at the course of a person's life and you count every time they considered their own as time they spent alone, that's a very little amount of time to be living your life.
Mm.
So the concept was, every moment is a moment for you. And so when we had our daughter, when we got married, I started thinking about, well, how do I like what is the benefit from the time we spend together, right? So now when I'm looking for, the kind of growth that comes from being social, I don't have to look outside of the home if I see the social aspect that I share with my family as a portion of my growth, right? So
Mhm.
now that's a little bit of time that I would need for myself that I now share. Okay.
Mhm.
When it comes to prioritizing like things that are involved with personal growth, really, I just started sacrificing the stuff I enjoyed and replacing it with the stuff that made me better until
Yeah.
I enjoyed that stuff. Uh,
Mhm.
there is no, there's no hack. There's no simple way, unless you're making, boatloads of money. Your
Mhm.
hierarchy of needs is going to be, you're going to be chipping away at it all the time.
Right.
And if you really want to actually make a dent in that and do something more with your life than just the same thing over and over, then you got to make sacrifices for moments in time where nothing is coming to you. You're not
Mm.
learning anything, you're not growing, you're not. In the morning, I wake up naturally really early because of being incarcerated. So I wake up 4:30, I open my eyes. And if I try to sleep, maybe 5. That's as far as I go. And so I sacrifice that early morning time that I could just lay in the bed. I get my ass out of the bed. I go train. And while I'm training, in between my sets, I'm looking up stuff to learn, skills that are going to make me better, things that are going to help me succeed. And I'm trolling people on the internet.
Mhm.
But what I'm doing is I'm making sacrifices to maximize the time I get when I come home. And that's really what it's, what you said, it's just a microcosm. It's a micro of that, right? I'm in the beginning,
Mhm.
you're further down the line, but no matter where you are, it's going to be sacrifice. And I I'm the first to tell you I don't like it when my plans get, disrupted. If I can't go to the gym, I am visibly upset. I
Mm.
am not a happy camper, and I'm pretty annoying to the people who, who love me for sure. And so they try to do their best to, to work with me. And there are times where I put myself first. I like to gauge what's more important and what's, like if I'm gonna do something for myself and somebody wants to, go outside or something like that or watch something, I do make decisions where I go, okay, I'm going to do this for myself now. You guys go do that. I'll spend time with you later.
Mhm.
Um, I don't see that as selfish. I see that as mental, like balancing your mental health. If I'm not in the best place, then when I need to buckle down and be 100% just here and nowhere else, it's going to be harder for me. And it's going to be more stressful for me. And we want
Mhm.
to minimize stress to maximize our lifespan. So for me, it's about balancing those things, and also we had this talk before about finding, a trad wife, the
Mhm.
top 5 qualities you want in a trad
Right.
wife, right?
Right.
Well, I think that one of the biggest qualities is someone who understands how important it is that your growth, that you take your growth into your own hands. A woman who's going to say, "All right, our family will do better if he does better in these
Mhm.
aspects," because I do believe that, there's an unhealthy realm of marriage and relationship where people don't take that into consideration. If you don't give
Mhm.
your partner the time they need to discover, become better, then it's going to make it harder for them to discover and become better with you and for you as well, for the family. So that's kind of how I look at all of that. I balance everything based off of importance, but also it's all your time. It's all your that time you spent in the car with your son. That's your time. Those are there's lessons there that
Yeah.
that you gathered, but also spiritually, you benefit from that. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you being selfless in that moment is a spiritual benefit. And even that is, that's an investment for you. So that's kind of how I see those things.
Yeah, no, that's a really good reframing of that, like to take it out of like a selfishness mindset and more in terms of like, no, like this is like all of those things, like because those are the things, if you think about it, when you think about your memories and like any kind of positive nostalgia that you have, it's typically in some of those moments that you did not plan,
Yeah.
that came out of nowhere, that something, either something cool happened, or sometimes it's not even something good, but it's still like it's one of those things that kind of sits with you as part of what helped make you who you are. Um and like having that mindset, because I remember I had a time where I was going through a rough patch back in '08. I actually wrote an article for Men of Order about this. And like I did some stuff that I regret, said some stuff to my wife that I regret, and she still held it down and was like cool to me. It was my birthday. It was like, and I was, anyway, she was still like, came through even though I was being a dick. Um and then I found that like later on, like a guy that I work with, it was his birthday like later that week. Found out that like he had just found out that his wife had been cheating on him, and like their marriage was over and all this kind of stuff and everything. And I was like, you know what? Let me make sure this dude doesn't spend his birthday by himself. So like, we got food, we like uh just hung out, had a 6 pack of beer, watched a movie, and I just like was there for him to like make sure that he was good, that he was okay. And I found that like me putting him ahead of myself in that moment actually was better for me than the way I was acting before, where I was being selfish about myself around my own shit. Like, as a, I like to think I've matured a lot since then, 15, 16 years ago or whatever. But it's one of those things where, yeah, when you make yourself like a gift, it's not about like sacrifice anymore so much as you're actually fulfilling who you are and who you're supposed to be. And so in a way it turns around and comes back and is for you in a more elevated and fulfilling sense.
Right. Hey man, I listen. I'm still working on it.
I feel you, man. Me
I'm
too.
still working on it, man. I
We should
just
call this the work in progress podcast, right?
listen, man,
It's
I'm
like,
so used to my own time
mm,
that it's it has been a massive adjustment for me. I mean, I'm an only child. I got stepbrothers and sisters, but I'm the only child of my parents for a while
yeah.
before anyone shows up. You know what I'm
And
saying?
then how long were you locked up where you had like all this
Five and a
alone
half
time? Five
years.
and a half years? Like that's a
Five and a
long
half
time.
years.
That's a
And
long
before
time to be
that,
alone with your own thoughts.
and before that, when I went to move to New Hampshire with my mother while she was still in the military base, after that move, we transitioned to Colorado. I was
Mm,
homeschooled from ninth grade. So I was alone a lot. And
hmm
my friend groups built themselves around me because
mm,
it was like my time, and I made myself almost so important that they put them, like they had to just build themselves around the edges of me. And then eventually I started giving myself all to them and paying zero attention to myself,
mm.
which was the opposite reaction. A lot of trauma based decisions, y'all.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I just spent so much time alone. I'm good. I'm
Uh-huh.
so good alone that I realized that it gets really selfish. It gets really just Sometimes I just want to meditate on the day, and I don't get bad moods really easily. And because of
Mm,
that, if someone's a bad mood around me, I have less patience
less
to
patience for
talk
them.
to them. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? These are
Yeah.
all things that we're working on.
Mm,
So, you know, think
yeah.
about this shit.
Yeah, yeah. It's no, it's real. It's not something to take lightly, I think those opportunities where you have something disrupt your routine, it's important to be mindful of that and to recognize, okay, this is a disruption of my routine. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep it in that proper framing of this is an opportunity for me to live out who I'm supposed to be for this person.
Right.
And therefore, like, I grow in my development, and I'm also like fulfilling my purpose
You know,
as a part of it.
I've been doing this thing lately where when I react a certain way that I don't like, and I go to think about it by myself, I just ask myself, why did I react that way? Like, or why did
Mm,
I think that? Or if someone says something that, I feel like is a disruption to my day, I ask myself, why is this a disruption? And sometimes I'm able to break down why it doesn't have to be a disruption. And
mm,
then, I realize I'm overreacting or
mhm,
I overreacted, so that's just something that you got to keep working on. Nicole Pinkston, she asked something about like she said, married men, like what's the one thing you could tell newly married men or men about to be married.
mm,
And I said that you can't learn it all at once, and that
mm.
you can't be in a rush to figure it all out in the first year and have all of the, we this is how we deal with our problems and this is how we do this, and that doesn't happen like that.
Mhm.
You're both growing people, and because of that, what works day one may be completely different even day 30. So it is a constant work in progress. You're not going to learn it all at once, and you're going to regret a lot of decisions and things you say sometimes, and you have to learn how to change that regret to more of an actionable response.
Right, right. No, I think that's good that you said this isn't a disruption. It's just because I think a lot of times our plan is like the thing that we think is the universe revolves around it.
The plan.
It's the plan. Like my plan is the plan. Like no, it's not. Like it's and so inflexible to recognize like no, look, this isn't a disruption. This just is.
That's right. That's right.
So I'm gonna
That's
roll
right.
with it, and I'm gonna be me in it. You know.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
So.
Well, listen, Chad, that was all I had for you today. That was the question of the day.
I didn't have no curveballs, no surprise questions. All
You
right.
know, I had a curveball, but I've been so just busy trying to do this learning on this trading that I forgot the question that I wanted to ask. I
We'll
forgot the
save it for
question that I
next
wanted to
time. No
ask.
worries. No worries.
Exactly. Let's save it for next time. Anyway, y'all, thank you for coming in. Thank you for listening. If you made it this far, like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, whatever the hell you do. And
Mhm.
as always, much love. Peace.
Peace.